Yes, the song you heard prior to our traffic update was Jeudi Cornejo Braley. Good morning. Welcome back to KHTS, what we call Friday morning matinee.
Perfect.
So, and you are an artist and really focusing on more of like the vintage style. And according to your website, this is partly due to the fact that your mother in World War II was like a Rosie the Riveter type.
She was.
And that all those stories she told you.
Yes, I just was so enchanted by all the stories that she told. They were stories of hardship, but the thing that she really stressed was how people came together in these hard times. And she would tell me stories about, she was too young to be an actual Rosie the Riveter, but she drove a little forklift around in the airplane factory.
Even still.
And, her brothers, she had 5 brothers, and they all served in different branches of the service. And she would, participate in these swing dance contests at the USO. And so I really, absorbed sort of psychically all of her love and interest in this era.
Well, especially with the holiday season, and your CD is called
Winter Was Warm.
Winter Was Warm, and it will be on Saturday at least. And looking at the forecast, but this is something. And when we think about Christmas and the holiday season, for a lot of us, it is nostalgic. I mean, like we're in full holiday mode now, and there's very few like modern sounding songs, even from modern artists. They all kind of revert back to that retro kind of the big brassy era. So is this something that I know that you kind of have a vintage look, and I love it with like the polka dotted dress and the brooch and everything like that.
Yes.
This is something from your artistic perspective. This is kind of how you express yourself.
This is just how I roll.
Mm-hmm. And that's great. So but it's not just Christmas music that you perform, of course, right?
No, it's not. And, you had me on last year for this CD, and since then I've recorded the next 2 projects. And so those are going to be coming up in the new year.
We'll have to have you back on then.
Process of mixing them right now. And one is, all songs about getting married and weddings. So we're hoping to get that out in time for June Bride.
Oh, that's perfect.
And then the other one is all songs about the sun, the moon, and the stars. And they're these, hopelessly romantic songs, dreamy songs.
So not quite Age of Aquarius stuff, but
no.
We'll
It's
go back
Midnight
a little further.
and the Stars and You. If you remember that was actually the song from The Shining.
Okay.
In the ballroom.
Okay. I'm a little scared now. No,
yeah, don't be afraid.
Here's Johnny. But this is very exciting. And of course, your Christmas album is wonderful. And tell me a little bit about going back to that. Winter Was Warm. Of course, it's available. You can order it through your website. It's jeudi.biz. It's JEUDI.
Yes.
.biz.
And if people forget how to spell that, my name means Thursday in French. So all you have to remember is B-I-Z. Just look up Jeudi.
Okay.
.biz. Yes.
Jeudi.biz. And you've got kind of an international background as well, and you spent some time in Paris, actually.
I did. I've lived there twice in my life. I went there to school when I was in undergrad as an exchange program, and then after I graduated, then I went back again, and my family, we try to go back every couple of years.
How nice.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go move to Paris.
I'd like that too.
Is it easy to move there? I mean, I've never lived outside, except for being in the Army. I never lived outside of California, so I don't even know if it's easy to move to like Arizona. Much less Paris.
When I went to school there, of course, the school handled a lot of the the visas and that sort of thing. So that it was just kind of I followed their checklist.
Right.
And then when I went back the second time, I was just, hopeless romantic, packed my bags, one-way ticket, went over there, moved in with a friend who was French, and, just did what I could. These friends, they worked in the theater and film industry there.
That's nice.
And so I started doing industrial films for France Telecom, which is kind of like, I guess the equivalent of what we would say Ma Belle.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was, it was fun. But even those industrials that I did, they were kind of on the theme of bringing, oh my goodness, now it just went right out of my head. Bringing Up Baby.
Right.
There we go.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So I was
Fascinating.
the Katharine Hepburn character.
I
in
see.
this.
Was there an actual like leopard involved or anything like that, or was it? Okay.
There was not a leopard, except for I think maybe I had some leopard in my
There we go.
clothing.
But I
Yes.
love this idea of the vintage thing, and a lot of us, because it does kind of harken back, even just from idealistically or metaphorically, to a simpler time that maybe we all long for. Is that kind of where?
Well, this CD, the thing that I thought was really interesting about this CD is that I found these songs, and half of them are about winter, and half of them are about Christmas.
Right.
And the songs that I found, they were so unique because, I wanted to embrace all the emotions of the holidays, because not everyone is, gung-ho Christmas. There are a lot of people who have feelings of melancholy associated with it too, or longing or nostalgia. And I think it's such a rich variety of emotions to engage in.
That's outstanding. We're speaking with Jeudi Cornejo Braley, and you're a Santa Clarita resident, right?
I am. I went to school at Cal Arts, graduated
That's
from
right.
there, and
With the
met
Master
my
of Fine
husband
Arts?
there.
Ah, very nice.
Yes.
And that's the wonderful thing too, is having local artists out here putting these together. We are going to take a break. We're going to come back with some traffic and then another Jeudi song of the winter variety. Coming up after this time is 9:46. Winter was warm, Jeudi Cornejo Braley, and that was it's winter again. It almost is, although you can't always tell with our weather here, Jeudi.
I know. Right?
But I want to tell. We were talking a little bit about the recording. Now, this one you had three artists that worked with you, or at least you have the pianist, a violinist, and a guitarist, and we were talking about the kind of the ukulele jazz guitar that he had there.
Yes.
Now, are you using the same musicians on your upcoming projects,
Well,
or did we?
I'm hoping to use the same violinist, but she is in high demand. Her name is Yvette Holdsworth, and she also graduated from Cal Arts. And then my pianist is my music director, and he does all my arrangements. That's John Boswell. He's brilliant, also very high demand, but we have all the tracks laid down.
Well, that's good.
And in the new projects, we're doing more duets together. And then David Boswell, his brother, is my producer, and he does all the mixing and the arranging. And he also is a local jazz musician, and so he plays different instruments, different of the guitar variety. That last one, it was kind of, I can't remember what it's called. It's a ukulele with an extra string,
Right.
basically.
There's, I could tell by the sound of there, and I love the kind of the uniqueness there. And you were talking about also the violin that kind of sounded like the wind coming up and down. So there's a lot
Isn't
of
that fun?
creativity.
Yeah.
Now, is that an original, or is that something that?
No, it's not. That was written by this group of songwriters from 1932, and it's Al Hoffman, Al Goodhart, and Arthur Freed. And Arthur Freed, everyone knows because he headed the MGM musical division later.
Okay.
And he is uncredited for, he worked on Singing in the Rain and, all of the great films. And then Al Hoffman, he actually worked during World War II for the USO, and he wrote so many songs, including I Apologize and Black Coffee. And what most people know him for is Mare's Eat Oats.
Oh, really?
Yes.
And Little Lambsy Divey.
Yes, exactly. And so, anyhow, so that's just kind of a fun, jaunty little up-tempo tune.
I'd love to see your record collection.
It's so great because now with it digital, I can just have so many
Exactly.
Toys
All like
in the
on the
chest.
size of your phone here.
Absolutely.
So that's pretty
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah, I mean, there are people that are really audiophiles with the old records and stuff, and I used to have the giant record collection, and I really love the fact that if I want something, I could go find it. And even if it's something that's not available, but somebody's put it on YouTube even, and I'll click over to the advertising to give them a little piece of money. But I love the digital age and being able to even research this type of stuff. I think is terrific.
That's the whole thing. You can find these things that have just been lost.
Those old Bix Beiderbecke records and things like that.
And amazing footage.
Exactly.
Footage of people performing back then too.
So, and I also love that you're keeping this alive and keeping this tradition alive, and especially with the nostalgia. There are a lot of people depending upon where they're at in life or here that love the idea of going back to a simpler time,
Yes.
so, or a time where maybe people were more polite to each other, or they dressed up a little more or something like, I know, as I say this in my sweatshirt here, but and my tennis shoes. Maybe of the nostalgic part, maybe that's not the part that I bring into, but I really love that idea of especially the holidays where it's just so lush and
it's very evocative, don't you think?
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
So your current, if you want some really good Christmas music, and it's called Winter Was Warm, available at Jeudi, JEUDI.biz. And you probably also, you're on all the social media outlets as well.
I am. You can find me on
and honestly, if you just start,
everything.
if you don't remember the last name, if you just start typing Jeudi, JEUDI, you come up. You're like friends with Google, because that
I
came
like
right
to
up.
hear that.
So and as far as one of the selections there, and then you click right over, and that's who you want. Jeudi Cornejo Braley, Santa Clarita resident, and all around nice. Now, when you get the new CDs, or at least if one of them comes out, let me know, and we'll have you come back, because I'd love to hear it, and let me know also if I can get a copy.
I'd love to come back.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for stopping by. I really appreciate it, and have a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Holidays, and good luck in 2017 with your CDs.
Thank you. Merry Christmas, everyone.
You bet.